G'day and welcome to the second episode of Stu's Green News and Reviews. Today's story comes from the Ag Journal magazine, which is brought to you by the Weekly Times. All the appropriate links will be in the description below. But today's story is by Alex Sinnott and it is titled Playing Fast and Loose. Pressure is growing on fast food outlets to reveal the country of origin of their ingredients, writes Alex Sinnott. So the story goes, since July 2018, country of origin food labelling has been mandatory for most food sold in retail stores, marketing and vending machines, whether packaged or unpackaged. However, takeaway chains, restaurants or cafes are not bound, and that's the important part here, by the labelling scheme. Clarity of country of origin is a big deal for Australia's agricultural sector. A Roy Morgan poll in 2018 found more than half of all Australians had visited the Golden Arches in the 6-month survey period. In the same launch litmus test, nearly 41% of respondents had chowed down on a KFC meal, while roughly 30% had sampled a foot-long or 6-inch sub from Subway. With this in mind, Mr. Littleproud held initial talks in May 2018, securing Domino's Pizza as his first recruit 4 months later. I asked fast food stores to give their customers country of origin information, and Domino's delivered. Domino's delivered, no pun intended I suppose, the minister declared in September 2018. The pizza giant, originally from Ypsilanti, Michigan, I don't know if that's how you say it, Ypsilanti, disclosed how much of its cheesy offerings were dinky-die Australian. Carnivorous offerings such as Supreme and 8 meat pizzas are at least 65% Australian made. Herbivorous varieties such as Spicy Veg Trio are more than 80% homegrown. Domino's also disclosed on its country of origin webpage that the chain's chips and churros are made in the US, and ironically its Dutch pancakes are made in Belgium. Despite these tasty information nuggets from Domino's, McDonald's kept Mr. Littleproud waiting on his takeaway order until earlier this year, which must have been, this is written in November 2020, so early November 2020, on its newly launched website in April. The junk food giant revealed its Big Mac is made with 82% domestically sourced produce, its apple pie containing at least 93%, and thick shakes at least 87%. I suppose this is good. Ronald McDonald was the big cheese the Agriculture Minister was after, and he knows with the Golden Arches behind him there's potential pressure for other brands to follow. You've got to wonder why these national fast food outlets won't follow McDonald's and provide country of origin labelling from their products, Mr. Littleproud says. Letting consumers know the Australian content of their products is good for their customers, good for their business and good for our farmers. Good for you, Mr. Littleproud. There's a little graphic here, and it goes, our fast food appetite. Percentage of Australians who visited a fast food outlet in a 6-month period. McDonald's is 52%, KFC 40%, Subway 30%, Hungry Jack's 30%, Domino's 28%, Red Rooster 16%, Grilled Hamburgers 12%, Nando's Chicken 10%, Pizza Hut 10%, and Noodle Box 7.5%. So we eat out a lot, which I guess is why it's so important to have Australian products in their food. Anyway, Hungry Jack's, KFC, Red Rooster and Subway are yet to sign up to the federal government initiative. Subway Australia Public Relations Minister Amanda Templeton would not stipulate how much domestically sourced material is contained in their sandwiches. Well, it's very disappointing, Subway. Instead, she says, Subway proudly sources from more than 80 Australian producers to provide guests with freshly made food. Our freshness is on display for every guest who comes to our restaurants, and we proudly promote our local sourcing. Likewise, Craveable Brands spokeswoman Lisa Owen refused to say how much Australian-sourced ingredients are contained in the company's Red Rooster offerings. She says the fast food conglomerate were proud supporters of many Australian businesses and primary producers who supply our brands Red Rooster, Oporto and Chicken Treat. Proud supporters. We take pride in our Australian first approach and can confirm that the produce in our burgers, the chicken, the lettuce, the buns, the sauce, including the famous Oporto chili sauce, are supplied by businesses and producers across Australia, Owen says. Then what's the problem? KFC and Hungry Jack's management did not respond to questions for this article. KFC and Hungry Jack's, all right, we'll scratch them off the list. I like Hungry Jack's, what a bummer. But Colonel Sanders and Australia's Burger King may need to provide some answers soon, with the nation's agricultural lobby groups unhappy over how the fast food industry has failed to come to the country of origin table. Australians deserve to know where their food comes from and how much of it is truly sourced from our local farmers. Australian Dairy Farmers President Terry Richardson says the ADF, what's the ADF? Australian Defence Force? Oh, Australian Dairy Farmers, is urging all fast food chains to do the same. It's the honest thing to do. We also welcome opportunity to work with government on addressing anomalies in country of origin labelling, such as the use of minor ingredients in cheese production. That's fair enough. The grain sector also says it's time for fast food brands to follow the lead of McDonald's and Domino's. Grain Growers Chief Executive David McKeown says, with Australia's reputation as a clean, green producer, our grains are world class, and acknowledging their country of origin would be a win for retailers and consumers alike. Last paragraph. Ausveg Chief Executive James Whiteside echoes the calls of his dairy and grains counterparts. Fast food retailers should be upfront as to their food's origin, particularly given Australian farmers produce enough food for the domestic market and to continue supply international markets. He says, Australian consumers have a strong preference to buy locally grown food, and they have the right to know where their food comes from. End of story. What do you think? Should we start a letter writing campaign, particularly to the likes of KFC and Hungry Jack's maybe? Where do you get your food? Anyhow, I just wanted to share that with you. I found it interesting. I'll keep an eye out for updates. If I come across any, I'll let you know. So that's episode 2 done and dusted, and keep an eye out for episode 3. Cheers, thanks for watching. Our freshness